Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to talk about the SEC's secret and very corrupt plans working with the hedgies. So stay tuned and let's make some money. And now I want to dive straight in with the key information. So, Coin tweeted asking the question saying, is our government protecting Citadel to protect their own liquidity? I think so. Citadel's description when Googled says Citadel Securities helps meet the liquidity needs of asset managers, banks, broker-dealers, hedge funds, government agencies and public pension programs. Now this is obviously just the start of the speculation that the SEC and the wider government is indeed working with and siding with the hedgies like Citadel. Recently we've seen the SEC publish a very tasteless video around meme stocks, leverage and multiple other trading tactics widely used by hedge funds, but they're ridiculing retail investors for using those same tactics. Now I think this is only just scratching the surface of the conspiracy that the SEC is siding with the hedgies, but let's dig much deeper. Salvatore obviously tweeted this meme saying if you didn't hold something of deep value, then the SEC wouldn't be spending money on terrible adverts trying to disparage your investment choices. Hang Loose followed up by saying, can anyone name another time in history where the SEC of all people has been worried about certain stocks retail is investing in? You typically have some smaller hedge funds worried about what other hedge funds are investing in or worried about what retail is investing in if they're on the opposite side, the losing side of the trade. You had Jim Cramer live on CNBC back in 2020 telling us not to buy a number of different growth stocks because obviously his hedge fund buddies were on the other side of the trade. And now in 2021 and 2022, he isn't telling us not to invest in growth stocks, he's telling us not to invest in AMC and in GameStop. But obviously it's now at the point where it's not just Jim Cramer telling us not to buy AMC, it's even the SEC telling us not to invest in meme stocks. Hang Loose said that should speak volumes to everyone that even the SEC is concerned about our specific investment choices around certain stocks. There's also a fully explained theory of exactly what the SEC may be doing, which is to bait retail investors into a class action lawsuit in an effort to portray them as a coordinated movement. This user on Reddit said step 1, bait individual retail investors with an obvious, over the line, blatant attack, aka an investor mania ad. The SEC knowingly produced this ad, knowing that it was far over the line and knowing it would derive a response from all of us, the retail investors. But not just retail investors investing in AMC and GameStop, but basically the entire retail investor crowd. Step 2 is to obviously wait for individual retail investors to express outrage and publicly communicate a desire to unite against the attacker, aka a coordinated class action lawsuit. Now I'd say step 1 and step 2 have absolutely already happened so far, as people were absolutely outraged not only on Twitter but also on YouTube, Reddit and other social media platforms as well. Step 3 is for the SEC to paint individual retail investors as a coordinated and united front or a coordinated group. Step 4 is to launch a new attack campaign accusing coordinated retail investors of various forms of market manipulation. Now obviously while retail investors can invest in stocks they like and they can also discuss stock investments, they actually can't coordinate into groups specifically trying to obviously pump and dump stocks. The SEC could try and label us as a coordinated group purposefully trying to pump and dump stocks and also squeeze different hedge funds. Now obviously this isn't what we're doing because we're just buying stocks like AMC because we like the stock and we support the underlying companies. It's obviously not fair that different hedge funds are trying to crush genuine American companies into bankruptcy, and we're just standing up against that and buying the stock because we support the company. But obviously the SEC, the hedge funds and the wider government could potentially try and paint us out to be a coordinated group of retail investors attacking hedge funds and attacking different stocks. Step 5 says the SEC enacts current rules or even creates new rules to protect investors, aka to obviously protect those hedge funds. And guys, if you haven't already, be sure to sign up to Moomoo using the link in the description below to get 5 free shares worth up to $2,500 each. That's up to $12,500 in free shares. Moomoo and Futu have also officially announced that they do not accept payment for order flow, and Moomoo doesn't clear through Apex brokers. They have their own clearing broker, Futu, and therefore Moomoo is brilliant for buying those AMC shares. Moomoo was also recently given the award of being the best trading platform because it's very easy to use, it's incredibly customizable, and it's entirely commission free. But obviously one of the main reasons that I like Moomoo is the fact they don't clear through Apex brokers or through Apex clearing. They have their own clearing broker that doesn't accept payment for order flow. They could potentially enact these rules to protect the hedge funds and the free market by further restricting trading, halting stocks, or even reversing trades. We know that reversing trades isn't impossible for them. Tons and tons of trades on the LME during the nickel squeeze were indeed reversed for days on end. These trades actually happened in a fair market, they went through the system, they impacted on the price, but yet the LME rolled back not only the trades, but also rolled back the price. And it even says from the SEC website, the SEC may suspend trading in a stock when the Commission is of the opinion that a suspension is required to protect investors and the public interest. It says circumstances that might lead the Commission to suspend trading include questions about trading in a stock, including trading by insiders, potential market manipulation, and the ability to clear and settle transactions in the stock. They could potentially try and blame us for this potential market manipulation and could halt the trading or wind back the trading in AMC and GameStop. But he also asks, why would they do that? Theory 1 says that in general, a class action lawsuit takes several years to reach a verdict. The mother of all short squeezes may be mere weeks, days, or even hours away. This may be a last-ditch Hail Mary attempt at thwarting the inevitable, potentially market destabilising mother of all short squeezes. He said the system hates that retailers finally had a voice and wants nothing more than to try and shut our voice down. Theory number 2 positively says that Gary is actually the Trojan horse, taking down the SEC from the inside, knowing that a slam dunk class action lawsuit win will inevitably result in demands for SEC reform. Gary himself implied that the SEC has no real regulatory power. Therefore, a landmark case would encourage the government to empower the SEC with greater regulatory power, enabling them to actually regulate the market as intended. So I guess overall this could actually be a good thing, but at the same time it could be a bad thing. But so far it definitely seems like the SEC is absolutely siding with these hedgies. I do think it'd be very, very difficult for the SEC to actually go through with this plan because of how much investor uproar or how much uproar it'd bring on social media. Obviously, when the LME halted and rolled back trades, it did bring uproar. But at the same time, most of the people trading on the LME, which is the London Metals Exchange, are mostly just large funds. There's very few retail investors that trade on the LME because you can't access platforms like the LME from Robinhood, from Webull, from TD Ameritrade, or many other mobile app brokers. I think if the SEC tried to actually roll back trades against AMC and GameStop, they'd find it nearly impossible because of the millions of retail investors that would stand up against it. I think rolling back trades on a fund dominated by large hedge funds is one thing, but I think rolling back trades on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ on stocks or in stocks like GameStop and AMC is a completely different ballpark. But it seems more and more like the SEC is absolutely siding with the hedge funds. Hang Loose has tweeted believing that all major banks are involved as shorts against meme stocks. He said, make no mistake that they're actually facing bankruptcy if the mother of all short squeeze happens. He said that's why so much fraud has been pushed through in broad daylight and seems to completely evade the detection of the SEC, with naked shorting, dark pool usage, rehypothecation, spoofing, and much, much more. Pretty much every single day I come to you with some form of manipulation or some form of irregularity in the market, but yet the SEC still seems to do absolutely nothing about it. And that may be because not only are these small hedge funds shorting AMC, but actually some of the major banks are also involved and could potentially be facing bankruptcy if the squeeze actually happens. And therefore the SEC and the Fed are basically deciding they have to try and take the side of these major banks, not just take the side of these small shorts, but these major institutions. Something that seems to prove that is the fact the Fed have basically been siding with Evergrande and some of these major institutions. Marco Metzler has tweeted saying, "We did it, guys. Evergrande is now officially, finally in default, according to the paying agent, Citibank." But Peter Han has replied saying that this has come at a very interesting time. He He said, one of the things that frustrates me is that people don't understand the significance of events and how they matter. He said Evergrande has been on life support for 8 months now. He asks, is it any coincidence the plug is actually pulled 4 days after NSCC 003-2022 is approved? Obviously, rule NSCC 003-2022 was around SFTs, or the clearing services for those securities financing transactions, and also for those SFTs of SFTs. It basically means these major institutions don't have to take a massive hit on Evergrande and sell off tons of their stocks to meet margin requirements. They can just lend out their stocks and not have to sell them off into the open market. They can lend out those long positions for cash, still meet their margin requirements, and don't have to crash the market further by selling off tons of long positions. It basically means the damage done to these major institutions by Evergrande will effectively be minimised. We've also seen a number of different brokers like IBKR and also TD Ameritrade or TD Direct really struggling to locate shares on both AMC and GameStop. TD Direct Investing has changed some of their terms that says they now hold a lien on shares in cash accounts and can deliver those shares when they consider it necessary for their protection. It says they may now transfer any and all property in cash accounts to other accounts, aka margin accounts, aka to be able to lend those shares out. IBKR has also been sending emails to investors currently shorting GameStop, saying their shorts will be closed because IBKR is really struggling to locate any shares. It says as a result of a short sale transaction executed 2 or more business days ago, your account now has a delivery obligation as the position hasn't yet been closed. It says IBKR has been unable to borrow the shares necessary to meet its delivery obligation. Will continue to attempt to borrow those shares, but if not, under rule SEC 204, we have to close out of your position. So clearly brokers like IBKR and also TD Ameritrade are really struggling to actually locate real shares. But I think if this photo doesn't scream corruption, but also doesn't scream that Ryan Cohen is actually doing something about it, I don't know what does. Bill Pulte, who obviously has 3.2 million followers on Twitter, tweeted a little meme saying the boy's on the way to mess with the corrupt American oligarchy. It's obviously a photo there of Bill Pulte, Ryan Cohen and DFV obviously on their way to mess stuff up. I do think it's great that Ryan Cohen is actively fighting the abuse and fighting the corruption, currently shorting against GameStop and AMC as well. We know that obviously Adam Aaron has a plan, he's just waiting for the opportune moment to strike, which may be shortly after Ryan Cohen has also struck as well. So guys, be sure to leave a comment down below and ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.